Hey guys, Lori here. So I just thought that I would give you a brief testimony about reversing cancer in a horse. This happened back in the early 2000s, like at 2001. I had a horse that I had acquired about a year prior. She was an Arabian Pinto Cross, beautiful little mare, 11 years old. She actually had never been under saddle, never had a bit in her mouth when I got her, and so I ended up training her, and she was super easy horse to train, so smart, so sweet, never threw me, which was huge. But anyway, after I'd had her, I guess about a year, she presented with a sore on her lip. Now, she was very fair skinned. Being Pinto, she had a lot of white. She was brown and white, but she had a lot of white on her face, and so she sunburned easily. Her nose sunburned easy. So about a year in, she presents with a sore about the size of a dime on her lip. And it just didn't heal. It kept kind of getting bigger. A couple of weeks went by. So finally I decided, I better get this checked out. So I had my veterinarian, regular vet, come out, and he looked at it and said, I really believe it's squamous cell carcinoma. I'm going to go ahead and do a biopsy. But what I can do is just give her a local anesthetic and excise it and stitch it back up, cut out the sore, and hopefully it'll go away. He goes, but if it's squamous cell, I'm just going to tell you it's probably going to come back. I was like, okay. So that's what he did. Well, sure enough, I don't know, a couple of weeks, the sore came back, and meanwhile, the biopsy came back. It was definitely positive for squamous cell. He said, I really can't give you a whole lot of hope. You can go through the University of Florida, do chemo radiation. Squamous cell is very rapid growing cancer. So I was pretty bummed. Literally the next day, I went to the gym and I ran into a friend of mine who is a holistic small animal vet. She's actually the one that really opened my eyes about the vaccinations in animals. I had already questioned vaccines when it came to my kids, and she's the one that said, if you're going to vaccinate one time only, preferably just rabies, and be done with it. You do not have to keep hitting your animal's immune system with those vaccines. That's why they end up with so many diseases and die young. So, but anyway, she said, well, Lori, I know of a veterinarian in Dade City who is a holistic vet. She does homeopathic and acupuncture, and she's had success in reversing cancer in horses. I thought, well, what have I got to lose, right? So I made an appointment. This vet's name was Dr. Peggy Fleming. She's still in practice. She actually had graduated from University of Florida as a traditional Western medicine vet, but had expanded into homeopathic and acupuncture. So we go down, finally got in with her. She's tough to get in with because she's in high demand. And we trailered the horse down there. The office, instead of being like a traditional veterinarian office, concrete block or whatever, it was actually a 2-story house. And then there was a barn attached to the back of the house. So you could unload and put your horse in a stall, and then she had like this huge garage doors that opened automatically, and you'd lead your horse into this examining room, which was pretty big. And but when I walked into the front door to get set up to let them know, hey, we're here for our appointment, you guys, I walk into this office, and it's like a house, actually. It's a waiting area with a counter, and then a hallway that went down back, and this was not the area where you brought your horse in. And there's all these pictures on the wall, and not all were horses. Some of them were of dogs, some of them were of people's cats. And they were autographed, and there were a lot of just love notes to this vet written. We wouldn't be here without you, and you've changed our lives forever, and we'll be forever grateful to you. And I mean, you guys, I walk in this place, and literally there was such a spirit of healing in this place, I was completely overwhelmed to the point that I started weeping. I mean, I still get chills when I think about it. The aura in that place, the spirit in that place was completely different than any traditional veterinarian office you ever go to. It was not medicinal smelling. So I'm just like completely overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh. And to the point I was fighting back tears. I mean, it was tough. I was so overwhelmed. And we got all set up, and then, you know, I took Angel around, put her in a stall, and so we bring her in, and Peggy looks at her. She listens to their heart rhythm. She performed acupuncture on Angel. These huge long needles. They're just sticking them in her, like right above her hoof. I have no idea how acupuncture works, and I'm just sitting there watching, amazed. And what was even more amazing was this horse, instead of being anxious because she was in a strange place and all the things that horses usually react to, which, you know, Angel was a pretty high-spirited little Arabian mare. She certainly was no dud. She was a ton of fun to ride. She had a ton of energy, and, you know, she just was so calm. And as they began to do the acupuncture, she literally just started going to sleep. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So that was my first appointment. Dr. Peggy told me that the reason that Angel had cancer, and this is what's so cool about acupuncture, is that they look at meridians in the body. She said that her liver was extremely weak, and it had been weak from over-vaccinating. Now, I did not give her any history about where I got this horse or anything. She didn't ask how long have you had her. None of those questions. You know, she knew from looking at her. She said she's had poor quality of feed. She's been way over vaccinated. It's weakened her liver, and that's why she's not able to fight off the cancer. And I was like, okay. And I knew that was true because of the people that I had bought her from, who were very nice, but they were the type, they just went by the book, dude, you know. And I knew when I got her, I had actually switched her over to 2 parts, or 1 part barley, 1 part oat, 2 part cracked corn, and alfalfa pellets, and all natural feed that my holistic small animal vet, because she had a horse too, had her horse on. But I knew that the quality of feed, it was some kind of pellet stuff, was not good. And then the people were actually going through a financial crisis. I think that's part of the reason they were feeding on the cheap. But anyway, you know, so this vet completely reads my mail, right? And so she said, we're gonna, you know, I can't make you any promises, but we're gonna try a couple of different remedies. The first thing you gotta do is detox her. That's a 2-week process. So she gave me 2 little vials that had like tiny white circular, if you've ever used any kind of homeopathic remedies, you know what I'm talking about. And I was to put, it would amounted to about 1/4 of a teaspoon, but it was a capful of this remedy under her tongue, or detox as it were. And so we did that for 2 weeks, and it tasted sweet. So Angel, you know, once she realized what I was doing and got the hang of it, like, she didn't fight me at all. It was very cool. So we did that for 2 weeks, and then we tried one remedy. I don't remember what it was. I wish I did. I couldn't see any change. Meanwhile, you guys, the cancer's getting worse. It's getting worse. This horse is like, it's starting to eat at her entire lip. I mean, she's got this just oozing, disgusting wound that I couldn't do anything with but watch. First remedy didn't work, so then Peggy shipped me another remedy. That didn't seem to take. I had now gotten to where I couldn't ride her with a bit. She was in a hackmore because of the condition of her mouth. So I brought her back down to Peggy, and Peggy, you know, could visibly see the cancer was much worse. And she said, what's her energy level? I said, oh my gosh, it's through the roof. She goes, what's her attitude? I said, it's awesome. What's her appetite? I said, fantastic. She goes, okay, we're on the right track. Just hang in there with me. I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't have any place else to go, you know, at this point. So she gives me this remedy, and it's called Thuya. And I go back home, and I start giving Angel the Thuya. And I want to say about halfway into the therapy, each remedy lasted about a week it took that you gave it to them every day. You guys, this cancer started to heal like just a wound that just started healing. And within a few weeks, it was completely gone. I mean, it was a miracle before my eyes. If I hadn't been there, I'd be like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It was incredible. And I knew then that we had a lot to learn about cancer and reversing cancer. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the only cancer remedies allowed in the U.S. by law on people, if a doctor opens up shop, they have to by law use chemo or radiation. I found that out when I was going through a cancer with my mom, which I'll tell you guys that story at some point. But anyway, so I'm here to tell you right now, if I ever present with cancer, my butt's going to the vet. I know that sounds maybe crazy, but I saw it right before my very eyes. The follow-up with Angel, she was 11 when all this happened. She went on to live another 9 years. After a couple of years, the cancer came back to a small degree. She got another sore, so Thuya again, and it reversed. And that kept working up until she got to be about 20. Now, I personally think maybe if I'd more aggressively pursued it, I had 2 kids, and my plate was just so full. And I think too, as Angel was getting older, because her immune system, just like with people, it was already weakened years ago by the vaccines. Of course, I never vaccinated her. You know, you just get to the point, your body just can't overcome it anymore. And I just made the decision to put her down. And I felt like that was the right thing to do. So, but I've never seen anything like that in traditional Western medicine. And we have so much to learn. And it's so heartbreaking that Western medicine wants to say, we've got this, our way is the only way, when there are really many roads to healing, and Western medicine, as we know, doesn't heal. It doesn't cure. It only treats symptoms at a cost, a high cost. It's called side effects. So anyway, love you guys. Just wanted to share that story with you. And any questions, LoriLove77@gmail.com, or you can message me through Facebook. Anyway, we will talk soon.